welcome back to another episode of Void City Customs. I am Dan, and today I have got for you guys whatever the hell this thing is right here. I'm thinking it's going to end up being called some combination of Joker, Titan, Dragon, Demon. I don't know. We'll see what I come up with for the thumbnail. I guess we'll all find out together. So anyways, this kind of came out of, basically I just thought some pieces would work well together and I wanted to see if they would, and it turned out that for the most part they pretty much did. With a little bit of retooling and a little bit of hard work, this was a little more difficult of a custom in some areas. Other parts were extremely easy. I did have to repair a part of him because he came broken out of the package, unfortunately, due to the way he was posed. One of the pegs and one of the wrists was totally busted, so I had to make a new one. I will talk about that briefly. There are possibly a few things I'd still want to do with this guy, including maybe making a ripped up purple shirt kind of to put over him, over his shoulders at least a little bit, just like kind of rags hanging down just to give him a little more color. Another thing I might do is paint over all the bloody spots and just kind of make him more in line with the rest of the skin tone, because he doesn't necessarily need to be all ripped up and bloody looking, but I might leave him like that just because it does look kind of cool. Either way, I'll probably leave the nails all red and the hands all bloody. So let's talk about what this guy is, what he's a combination of. For those of you who could not tell already, this is essentially just the Joker Titan from McFarlane Toys, from their video game series. It was a mega figure, huge Joker after he took like the Bane venom. And then it's also pieces of the Joker Dragon. I have another one right here. This is the one I reviewed from my car, actually, right here. I got another one to put this custom together because while I was reviewing this one, I thought, hey, maybe this will work. So anyway, I'll throw in some photos of some of the process behind what's going on with this guy, and I'll show him a bit closer to you. So here's that awesome face again right there. Now, this was a pretty easy switch. All I had to do was just heat up and remove the original head. As you can see right in there, it's just like any other McFarlane Toys figure head. There's just like there's a peg with a ball on each end, and one plugs into the neck, one plugs into the head. So you just heat it up and just pull it right out. And they're like the same size for the Joker Titan and for the Dragon, which was nice. So it's pretty much just a straight switch. And the scaling with the head and this body actually works kind of nice, unlike the teeny tiny little Joker pinhead that comes on the body originally. You still get the tongue movement, mouth movement, so you can make him have different facial expressions, and he's got the hair. Well, that's what I started with. I just had the head on this body, and I thought that's pretty cool. Maybe I could take it a step further, and I kind of have to because it's so top heavy, it's hard for him to stand up. So what I wanted to do was to get the back from the Dragon onto Joker, but also get the tail to help him balance and counterweight it. But I wanted it to still blend pretty well together and look nice. So this was where it got very difficult, very tricky. As you can see, I've got some screws holding him together right now. I had to heat and bend this whole back piece here, the green part, in order to curve it along the spine for this guy. And then I screwed it into place as I went. And as I was heating it and curving it, I used Gorilla Glue underneath to help seal it to the back. And that's just on the torso. So it goes in here, here, and up at the top to help curve it on there. He still has this one piece that can come off. Although at this point I don't know why you'd need that. I just thought I'd show that it was still there. Then I had to worry about attaching the tail. So the tail, this is actually the back piece of the Dragon that I carved off and set inside of the torso piece of Joker. I carved them both so that they fit together, and then glued them in place and have a screw in there to help hold it in the spot. The screw looks kind of terrible, but it's usually covered up. I also had to carve up the back here so that it all fit in there, and he could get a little bit more movement now. up and down. He still's pretty hunched forward, but I kind of like that. He's kind of crouched like a big gremlin. That's pretty cool. So just like on the dragon, this just plugs right in. And it lines up pretty well still. And that way his tail can help him balance. Because as a lot of people know who have the Joker Titan figure, those legs are pretty weak sauce in the joint department. They could be a lot stronger, especially the ankles. I really wish they were, because if his feet were sturdier, he would hold a lot more poses. But, you know, that was that. So I make it sound like it was pretty fast and easy to do this, but it did take a while of reshaping the back and carving these pieces out so I could get them to fit together, and then get them to fit while still all assembled and still get the mobility that I wanted. So, you know, there's that. And now the green all matches up. I really like that it goes all the way around. Like I said, I might just leave him all bloody and jacked up. I think he looks kind of cool. Just like that. I like that he can change his expression, have him look all crazy. I just like how he looks all like werewolfed out, kind of like a demon or a gremlin. One thing I had tried to do was to put the arms from Man-Bat on him so he would have big wings, but I didn't realize Man-Bat's arms and hands are all one piece. There is no articulation in the hands, so I didn't really like that. And also the figures are kind of a lot different in size than I thought they would be, so they didn't really marry together as well as these two figures did. So I just stuck with these two together, thought it was fine. I saved myself a lot of paint trouble too, not having to use Man-Bat arms on this Joker guy. So there is that. That being said, I mentioned earlier that I had to do a repair. That was the wrist right here. As you can see, he does have a working wrist again. But what I had to do was the original peg that was in there. It's a very thin peg for as big of a wrist as this guy has. And the way the wrist was posed inside the box, it was like in such a way where it was bending where it shouldn't, and it had split the peg into 3 pieces. The peg had just exploded inside there, so his hand just basically fell off. So I was like, oh, well, okay. Well, my box of spare pieces is in the storage unit, so I didn't want to go rooting around for that. So I had a piece of wire that was pretty thick, so I cut it in a strip that was the same length as the peg was, and then I fit it in there, and it actually fit very tight, and I didn't even have to use glue, but I decided to, so I just glued the outside of both sides of it, so later on I can paint over it and I'll have something to paint onto. But otherwise it's held in place, it's metal, so it's not going to be breaking at all, and you know, it holds its pose, so I like it. Works just fine. And that's how you can repair one of those things if you have to sometimes. Depends on how thick of a repair you need. Something like this, you probably need something a lot thicker. I'm not sure what I would use to replace one of these pegs other than another one of those pegs. So definitely it works for some thicknesses, but not all. This is one of my favorite McFarlane sculpts. This thing is up for Vehicle of the Year, this dragon that this head and the back came from. And I hated this thing when I first saw it, and ever since I've gotten it, I love it so much. It's a fantastic sculpt. The paint is awesome. I love the orange teeth and the gums and the red on there. The eyes are all crazy looking. I think it's very cool. So that said, that is my custom Joker, Dragon, Titan, Demon, Gremlin guy. Yes, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I probably just rambled on because I had no idea what to talk about, because this isn't the real character. It was just literally an experiment that just kind of happened out of needing to be doing something, making a toy. Anyways, here's what it looks like when you carve the back off of the torso of the dragon, and also how much of the tail I had to cut off of the back of him there. So that kind of shows you what that ends up looking like. You end up with this like Demonic Choco-Taco. So yeah, have fun with that. That wasn't very fun. Peeling this green part off of the torso here was incredibly hard. It's glued on there very well, and it took a lot of heat, a lot of boiling water, and a lot of time with the heat gun to get that thing peeled off there and not destroy it. So good luck with that. Be very careful because it required the use of a lot of sharp, dangerous tools. So do this at your own risk, and if you know safer ways than I do, by all means, use them. But yes, Demonic Choco-Taco. Well, anyways, looks like Toast is on his way over right now, so I'm going to wrap this one up for you guys. Like and subscribe so you can make sure and see all the future ones coming out there. We got at least 4 more custom videos on the way very shortly. Ones that I've been talking about for quite some time. These are characters that actually exist, so I won't just ramble on about nonsense. I'll ramble on about nerdy nonsense. Cool. I bet you guys can't wait. Well, anyways, thank you for watching. I am Dan. This is Void City Customs, and I will see you next time.